Good afternoon, Ms. Hobbs. I'm so excited that we are able to video conference today in lieu of you coming into our office to have a conversation about your latest observation. Are you ready to get started? Sure. I'm so excited that you were able to visit my class, and I'm ready to hear what was your findings based on the walkthrough form that you completed. Cool. So I actually shared the walkthrough form with you. We're going to go through each part, and I really want you to internalize even why we're asking each part of this and how this is going to lead to your success. Not a problem. Let's get started. Alrighty. So yesterday I came into your classroom about 1:40, and I observed your math lesson. You're in a fourth grade class. You were talking about rounding numbers to the nearest hundreds. I want you just to give me a little background before I start talking about what I put on my form. How did you feel that lesson went? Well, I really felt that I did a great job on the lesson. I felt adequately prepared. My knowledge statement was posted. I was able to, effectively communicate my objective with my students. A little bit rocky in the beginning because I did not realize that some of my students didn't know place value, and so I had to kind of pivot and adjust in order to make sure that they had the prerequisite knowledge needed. But yeah, once I got back to it, I was able to flow through the lesson cycle. I was able to talk and confer with my students moving around as they had discussions. I thought that it was really interesting that when I went into my small group, I had some students that previously were not successful on the exit ticket, but after we talked about it and went through the small group, they were able to be successful. So I found that to be a success. And I just really felt like really good about it. That's wonderful. Many of the different things that you discussed here, I too observed. So let me start with the glows of this process. So just to build a little background, I saw that you had 22 students. I saw that your environment was conducive to learning. You had your desk set up in groups of 4. These kiddos, and except for the extra ones, they sat in groups of 5. And these kiddos were set up for success because you already had your materials organized underneath the desks for them to be able to reach easily as you use your manipulatives. I also recorded that you gave them the autonomy to sit in that flexible seating, which was really awesome. Those kiddos were really excited about being able to sit on the floor. Just as you stated, I did see that the expectations were posted. That was exciting because I want you to always make sure that you're going back to that expectation on the board or that student expectation so that they can always connect what they're learning. From there, when I entered the room, you were in that power zone. You were with the students. You weren't off somewhere at your desk, on the computer. So that was very good. I did too notice that you were able to pivot your lesson. That was really good because you were able to give your kiddos the ability to gain knowledge before you kept going. But I do want to ask, how did you know that they didn't know? Well, based on the exit ticket after my mini lesson, I realized that the kids weren't able to do what I asked them to do. So I quickly went back and did a small informal assessment. I knew that I needed to have that conversation with them about, like what part of it they didn't get. And then I quickly realized that they didn't have that prerequisite knowledge and was able to swoop right in. That's excellent. I actually found that on that part of your lesson, aligning that with the Sheldon ISD core instructional framework look fors, that you were really purposeful in your academic discourse, allowing the students to speak, with each other, with you. So I gave you a check on that if you'll notice on your walkthrough form. You had allowed them to really get seated in their productive struggle. It wasn't a lot of frustration. It wasn't that the students felt abandoned. You really allowed them to kind of work through that process until you realized, hey, they have this roadblock and I have to come in and provide additional knowledge for them to be able to be successful. I also gave you a credit for that as well on the walkthrough form because productive struggle is essential. Once you guys got past that part and really moved into your guided math lesson, I did give you purposeful small groups because at that point, like you said, you really went to disaggregate the data and utilized it for constructing your small groups. So I also gave that to you as well. I really want us to concentrate on one of the look fors that I did not see today. And that's not actually like a negative. It's just something that we could possibly look at as a next step that would really tie it all together, okay? At the end of your lesson, when the students were completing their reflection of the lesson in their interactive notebook, I saw that you gave them a problem to round, but did not actually give any kind of critical writing prompt with it. Would you like to kind of expound on that? Well, it was to my understanding that when you're talking about left side reflection, that you're actually looking for the student to show what they know. And I didn't really realize that you have to write in order to do that. Is that something new? No, not at all. When you are looking at the left side reflection, it is not only an opportunity for them to show what they know, in an algorithmic way. It's also a way for you to show what you know as far as the process of thinking. When we go back to look at process standards, we're really talking about how the children should be thinking in reference to a certain standard or skill. So it's always a great practice to implement some kind of critical writing. So for example, if your student was having a conversation that day or the lesson was surrounding rounding, you could have them to show a rounding problem. So rounding up when it's 5 or above, or 4 when it's 4 or less, but then also give them a critical writing prompt that allows for them to verbalize and articulate that thought process. So if there is any misconception, kind of similar to what you had earlier today where you were able to identify the issue and then teach a small, quick little lesson to dispel that misconception, you could do the same with those journal entries. You could provide feedback on their thinking. And honestly, the best thing for writing at this point is practice, practice, practice. And we should be writing in all content areas, not just RLA. I think this is going to be a great conversation for me and my partner teacher in RLA to have, because we've been looking at ways that we can cross-curricularly support our students in both reading and math. And I wanted to make sure that, it was something purposeful, not just something to say, hey, we're writing, but something that I could do that'll really help her out, but still to cover math content. Absolutely. One of our core instructional look fors is writing in every class. And I think that this is going to be super beneficial for you in the future to ensure that your students expect to write in math class, but also that you are continuing to connect their thinking back to being able to say it, write it, think it. Okay? So how do you feel about that feedback? Is that something that you feel you can implement? Sure. I just think I need a little bit of support in getting started. Absolutely. In our curriculum documents, there's actually writing prompts for the left side reflection that are available. Your instructional coach actually also would have the availability to assist you with constructing sentence stems or possible probing questions that you could put on that left-hand side. I definitely implore you to look at or do a search of different critical writing prompts for math. I know that there are a lot of great resources out there. I actually have one over here, Math GPS, that I can help you with to check out and show you exactly where it's located, like the prompts are located when you return. What do you think about that? Oh my goodness, that's going to be phenomenal. Great. So, I just want to go through a couple more pieces just to sum everything up, because we actually skipped ahead on my walkthrough form and kind of talked out of order, but it's all there. So I identified that based on the critical writing piece not being in this lesson, that I identified that we are going to work on a routine of writing in your classroom. We're also going to do that by supporting you in curriculum, supporting you in PLC, and supporting you with visits from your instructional coach, okay? Once we do that, we're actually going to come back to the table. I'm going to come back and, pop in, not scheduled per se, but I'm just going to do a spot check on your notebooks and see how it's working for you, see if there's any further need for us to have another, coaching conversation to see how we can shape this up. What do you think? That would be wonderful. I'm also going to partner with my RLA partner teacher. Like I said, we've been looking for a way to, make cross-curricular connections, and I really think this will be great for us. Great. I am looking forward to it. Alrighty, so I have feedback that I'm going to follow back up with you, look at your interactive notebooks, and we'll look from there. Do you have any questions for me? Absolutely not. This has been a pleasure. Real eye-opener. Great. I am so happy that we were able to chat today, Ms. Hobbs, and I cannot wait to see your kiddos excel in writing in the math class. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.